Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining today's discussion on multimodal cell and gene therapy manufacturing. We have a terrific presentation lined up for you. I'm thrilled to be here with industry experts Steve Awad, Principal Director, Supply Chain and Industry X Life Sciences at Accenture, and Michael Blackton, VP of Manufacturing and Supply at Ocugen. Together, they'll help us unpack how to make smarter outsourcing manufacturing decisions, avoid hidden risks, and position our programs for commercial reality, not just the clinical milestones. I'd also like to thank Ecolab Life Sciences and CPC for partnering with us on today's event. We will be taking your questions during our time together, so please do submit them via the Q&A tool as you think of them, and we will be sure to get to them throughout our presentation. All right, so we're going to jump right into our discussion, and we're going to first, of course, set the stage. Now, as cell and gene therapy pipelines expand beyond viral vector platforms, many biotechs are outsourcing multiple modalities to a single CDMO. And so, Mike, I'd like to start with you. From the innovator perspective, what operational or technical considerations drive a developer toward single modal, CDMO versus maintaining separate partners for each modality?
Thanks, Erin. I think, if I think about this logically, the first thing that comes to mind is capabilities, right? Is the CDMO, do they have the capability to execute? Beyond that, if we verify that they have the capability, there's really three things that come to mind. One is speed. The next one is consistency of strategies. If you have multimodal operations under the same roof, regulatory strategies or support can be consistent, quality systems consistency can be consistent, and your supply chain can be simpler, right? So if we look at that speed component, if you can leverage things, you can cut months out of your timeline, right? But on the other hand, if the CDMO doesn't have the capability to support both modalities or multiple modalities, then you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot, because you're going to be fixing one thing where you could be in another CDMO and just moving forward. So it's really, I think it really comes down to capabilities. Can they support you from a capabilities technical perspective? And if they can you leverage practices across both modalities? That's kind of the way I look at it.
Yeah, sure. Steve, I'd like to get your take on this. From your perspective, how are developers approaching multimodal outsourcing today? And what are the main drivers behind that trend? What are you and your team seeing at Accenture?
So I think it all depends on the developer, right? I'm seeing a mix, even from the big pharmas and then all the small pharmas, of using, either an end-to-end CDMO, like a specific specialist, and sometimes, again, it's all in-house or lease capacity. The big drivers, though, and the considerations are, how do you reduce like the upfront capital, and how do you access hard-to-hire expertise, and how do you de-risk the scale-up, especially when you have so many different modalities and not just one product. So each developer is thinking about this based off of their access to capital and the economies of scope and scale that they could have from in-house versus using a CDMO, and what it means most for them. I think, the use of a single partner is oftentimes the preference, because you have a single person that you need to work with to create a process for tech transfer, for QA and governance. So wherever possible, when we're outsourcing, that's the specific preference. But I'm often also seeing, maybe one vector manufacturer, one cell therapy partner as well.
Yeah, sure. Mike, I have a question for you. So cost and capacity, are they in fact still the top drivers, would you say, or are you seeing strategic partnerships evolve around technology specialization, or perhaps all three, cost, capacity, and partnerships?
I think cost and capacity matter, but they're not what differentiates how I choose a CDMO. right? To me, the best CDMO combines really deep technical know-how, integrated quality and CMC execution, and most importantly, especially for cell therapy, because their life cycles are so short. We're very small patient populations in our clinic to get to the market. They have to be able to industrialize, right? They have to be able to supply the market. So I just had this conversation with another supplier, and the question was about cost. And they said, what's more important to you, cost or getting this done on time? And when you think about an early stage company and we're moving towards BLA, well, meeting that timeline is actually important. We have to, it doesn't matter how cheap it was if you can't get the deliverable, if you don't have results. So what am I looking at? In technical depth, I'm looking at modality-specific expertise, right? If I'm making AAV5, I want them to be the world expert in AAV5 manufacturing, so that I could leverage them to help me with my body of knowledge and my process development. Same thing with regulatory thinking. I'm looking for a very strong regulatory support, but also understanding that I'm the sponsor, and when it comes to decisions for my filing, that's where it comes from, the sponsor. But I need that depth on the regulatory side. I need them to be able to help me work through very difficult regulatory questions, especially around things like lot release strategies, if I have a unique consideration for my product. Ability to meet market demand. We know that, for cell therapy especially, it's very different than gene therapy, which is a more traditional type of manufacturing strategy. But for cell therapy, you can't scale out. You can't scale up. You can only scale out, right? And, the whole facility becomes the whole factory becomes your bioreactor. How many widgets can I get out of the factory rather than how many widgets can I get out of the suite? So they have to be able to address that. So I'm looking at basically a robust and reproducible manufacturing platform. I'm looking at reducing risk and process robustness, operational excellence. That's the first thing. Then I look at cost.
That makes perfect sense, especially when it comes to the time being the more important component versus the cost. Steve, what's your take on that? Cost versus capacity versus strategic partnerships?
It's a good question. And I'd recently reviewed a big survey that Accenture had done with about 10 CGT developers. And really, they rarely mentioned price as their primary criteria. The big thing is actually it's timeline reliability, it's technical depth, and communication. I think back in like 2018, when there was one or two therapies in the space, the question was like, who has slots and can possibly do this? And now it's who has the platforms, the analytical technology, and like a regulatory track record, and who can, if I were to amortize this across 10 years, who can actually lower my risk and cost of goods over time. So CDMOs are actually differentiating through the technology that they're using, through digital integration with their clients, and now even we're seeing the use of AI for process control. So the selection criteria has definitely evolved over the last 5 years, faster than I've ever seen in any other space.